If you're taking Fortnite competitive seriously, how you warm up matters more than most people realize. A good routine doesn't just get your hand moving, it sets your crosshair, builds consistency, and puts you in the right headspace to actually perform when it counts. In this video, I'm going to be walking through the full warm-up routine built specifically for comp players, covering aim, free building, piece control, live fights, endgame prep, etc. So you're not going to waste time in creative showing up cold to scrims or solo cups or tourneys. Let's get into it. Most players either don't warm up at all or they do it wrong. Random free builds and mindless edit spams or grinding box fights with no purpose isn't the way to go. That kind of warm-up doesn't translate to better performance and competitive. What you actually need to do is find a warm-up routine that is efficient, realistic, and focused on the exact skill sets that will help you win more fights and games in competitive Fortnite. First up is aim training. Begin every warm-up with aim training because your shots determine every fight outcome. No matter how good you are at building or game senses, missing your initial shot puts you at an immediate disadvantage. For aim, I recommend Raiders 1v1 aim duels, Skavok or aim labs, and spend about 30 minutes to an hour focusing on realistic shot conflicts, SMG tracking, AR tracking, etc. because focusing on these major aspects of your aim is exactly what you need to win every single fight. It's important for you to not just spam shots mindlessly, instead keep your crosshair steady and centered on your target. Train yourself to pre-aim, track targets smoothly before pulling the trigger. This helps reduce overflicks and missed shots caused by sloppy mouse movement. The better your aim muscle memory is, the more confident you're going to be in fights, which immediately puts you at a massive advantage over your opponent. Also, make sure to pay attention to your hand positioning and mouse grip as you warm up. Small adjustments there can improve your accuracy and precision and reduce fatigue over long sessions. Consistency here translates directly to better fights and more wins in competitive. Section 2 is going to be free building. Once your aim is warmed up, move into free building. I always do this before piece control practices and peak practices because if your fingers aren't warmed up, you'll struggle with precision. Free building is how you activate your mechanics, your movement, editing rhythm, and general control. Start with about 5 minutes of slow speed free building. Slow it down, practice tunneling, layer change, box to box movement, retakes, editing, triple edits, double edits, etc. This forces you to stay accurate and intentional with your builds, and it builds up your muscle memory and fixes sloppiness and increases your precision. Then after doing that for about 5 minutes, switch to fast speed, and for the next 10 minutes, push your limits, try to edit and build at max speed without losing control. The goal isn't to look too flashy, it's to get comfortable at operating at a faster pace than usual. That way, when you drop your speed back to normal, it'll feel like your gameplay is really slowed down and makes you naturally faster and more controlled under pressure. And lastly, the tip for free building, make sure to keep your movements realistic. Practice patterns that you actually use in a mid-game fight or an endgame. Make sure to use protective peaks, low ground layer switching, tunneling, and edits that you'll use in an actual fight. The next section is piece control and peeking. With your hands warmed up from free building, it's time to work on your piece control, peeking, flick shots, etc. For this, I'd use Raiders 464, Mechanics Map V4, or Mechanics Map V5. I personally like V4 better. This map is specifically designed to train the skills you'll need in mid-game fights. After entering the Mechanics Map V4, start by running through the edit tunnel section. Your goal is to complete all tunnels in one clean run without mistakes. If you mess up, reset and try again. This develops precision, consistency under pressure, teaching you to maintain focus during fast-paced fights. And I recommend going through the whole edit tunnel list at least one time without messing up. Next, after the editing tunnels, move on to edit training from different positions. This challenges you to adapt your edits to multiple angles and locations, mimicking real fight variability where you rarely get to build from the same spot twice. And editing from awkward angles improve your editing and precision over time. After editing training, I recommend focus on peak training. This is where you piece up the bot without taking any damage. This drill replicates climbing on an opponent while they're trying to contest you, forcing you to place every piece efficiently and defensively. The pressure trains your ability to fight while maintaining high level piece control and trying to piece up an opponent without taking any damage. And I recommend when using it in this map to choose the hardest difficulty for the most improvement. And throughout this entire routine, concentrate on clean and deliberate builds and resets when mistakes happen. Consistency is key. Fast edits mean nothing if they aren't precise, so prioritize control. These drills build muscle memory for the exact movements and decisions that win fights in tournaments and ranked games. Take your time and aim for perfection. Next, after the mechanics map, you want to go into 1v1, PGs, box fights, and realistics. And now that your mechanics and piece control are solid, it's time to apply everything into a real game fight scenarios. Start with about 15 to 30 rounds of PGs. This will warm you up for aggressive high ground retakes and force you to combine aim and building under pressure efficiently. After PGs, make sure to switch to box fights because box fights mimic early game fights and a little bit of end game fights, and box fighting drills develop your tight editing, reaction time, and your shotgun aim in close quarters. Focusing on re-aiming and defending peaks and quick resets if you lose control, and make sure to treat every round as a chance to identify what you need to improve on. After box fighting, I would recommend going to realistics and playing about 30-ish rounds of realistics because this is the best creative warm-up for competitive players because it stimulates mid-game fights with terrain and real opponent movements. It tests your ability to adapt, position, time, timing and skills you're trained without just aim and building alone, and allows you to play offensively and defensively efficiently. For this, I'd recommend maps like Finest 1v1 Realistics or Cambine's 1v1 Speed Realistics. And lastly, don't treat these as casual games. Stay focused on learning and refining your techniques. The goal is to get your muscle memory and game sense synced so you can execute instinctively in real matches. And make sure to always try to identify your mistakes and VOD review your practice fights so you can never make the same mistake twice. And your last part of the warm-up routine is zone war, scrims, and endgame practice. For this part of the warm-up, make sure you focus on game sense, awareness, and situational practice stuff that you can't train in creative alone. To get ready for real matches, you want to run 20 to 40 rounds of stacked zone wars or scrims or competitive playlists like solo endgame cups. The zone wars maps, especially like 32 player zone wars or solo endgame cups, stimulate real endgame scenarios that you'll face in a stacked journey lobby. Use these practice maps to practice your rotations, layer control, storm positioning under pressure. The more rounds you run, the more you internalize how to manage space and time in fights. If you have access to scrims like Noble Scrims, NA Opens, etc., spend time warming up there. Scrims give real players unpredictability, which is essential for practicing decision making, map control against high level opponents, surge trading, etc. For tourney days, it's crucial to run at least 30 rounds of high pressure zone wars to get your mental state and mechanics locked in. If possible, play solo endgame cup or similar modes with real stakes, because this is what truly separates the average player from the top tier consistent pro player, because pro players focus on reps against actual quality opponents in conditions that replicate tourney atmosphere. Don't rush this part of the warm-up, because the volume and quality of zone war rounds here translate to directly into better performance on game day. Alright everybody, that is a full routine for aim, mechanics, flight application, endgame prep, etc. all covered in under an hour. If you stick to this consistently, you'll show up to scrims, tournaments, ranked matches sharper than 90% of the lobby. You're not just relying on mechanics, you're relying on training, decision making, movement, execution, rotation, pressure, etc. If you found this video helpful, make sure to drop a sub, let me know in the comments down below what you add to your own comp warm-up routine, and good luck to your next event.